Hello and welcome to another video from me, Rough Swordsman Wargamer. It's part 4 of my playthrough of Panzer, the game of small unit actions and combined arms operations on the Eastern Front, 1943 to 44, game designed by James M. Day and published by GMT Games. In the last video we saw some more casualties, and up here on the hill, the one remaining German Panzer is trying to maneuver itself out of danger, and the Soviet tanks here trying to capture this victory point. And the section here on Overwatch knew there was a tank behind the woods, and as soon as it crept out of cover, was fired upon. Unfortunately, without any success. On that matter, I've been told that when I moved this platoon out from the protection of the woods and it moved here, and then I turned it, the Overwatch would have kicked in before I had a chance to turn the tank if the German player so wished. So it would have been firing on the side as opposed to the front, but we'll say he waited until I turned and then fired. But as I just said, they were unsuccessful. So here we go then with turn 5. And the first thing, of course, is the spotting phase. I think everything that was spotted is still spotted, with the exception of the German command tank here, which is now gone out of sight behind the hill. And just to remind you, the spotting range is 20. And these are the modifiers, but because tanks have moved and fired, the spotting range increases dramatically, so everybody can be seen except for those 2 command tanks hiding themselves behind hills. Next, it's the command phase. So let's see how many commands each side gets. I think I did this a little wrong last time, but having a count up of the tanks, both sides now have 8 tanks, and that means each side gets 5 commands. There we go. Oh, just before we do that, we have to make sure that all the tanks are in command range of their HQ tank. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, they're all right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Got to keep an eye on that. This one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looking good. So we're seeing who is going to place their commands first, and that will be the side with the lowest die roll. Red for the Soviets, black for the Germans. Soviets. So what are they going to do? Now these could try and skedaddle, but as they're placing their commands first, the Germans will have a little bit of intelligence as to what's going on. So I think they're going to fire. And I think this will fire. And I think this one is going to try and move up, to the VP marker there. I did that wrong last time. I forgot to adjust by -4 on the armor piercing hit chart, but it worked out fine in the end. I got away with it. And I think we'll have the HQ no command. Right. For the Germans, I think this may be a very short scenario, but we'll see what happens. These are going to fire, of course, as are these. I think it's just going to be mainly firing at each other, because these are firing at the ones on the hill. And, this one is going to have to move. And a no command for the German HQ tank. Right, that's it. Next, it's initiative. And this is important for both sides. Whoever gets the initiative will probably fire first and see if they can do damage before the other side can return fire. So let's see what happens. Soviets. 46. And the Germans. 72. Oh dear. The Germans get the initiative, and of course they are going to go first and therefore fire first. I tell you what, we'll do this one last. Let's have a look at this one. Okay, so the Germans, just the one tank here, and they're thinking, which one are they firing at? There's 3 tanks here, but they are under a short halt command, which means they're going to have a -4 to their throw, so they might get away with it. This one, though, is going to have an unmodified shot, I think. So the Germans are going to try for this one. Let's just make sure there's nothing of interest. There's a knocked out tank there, and over here. Oops. We've got a knockout there. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7. And the Germans at 7, lucky them, look. They're on the short range penetration of 20. So they're on 70%. Don't think anything applies. Nothing's damaged. Didn't use their ammo limit. So 70% for a one-hit chance. Where can we put that? I'll put it there. I'll move the dice if we can't see them. Will the Germans do it with their one shot? Here we go. 85. No, they don't. So they have fired, and that's their command gone. And we'll pop those back for a minute, and we'll move down south. So what have we got here? We've got 3 tanks, I think, all in good condition. There's the victory point marker underneath. Those Panzers are okay, but here we've got one with a damaged turret and the other 2 are okay. So I think we'll have the top, middle, bottom Panzers fire at the top, middle and bottom Soviet tanks. It's a point blank range and only goes up a couple to 23. It's level shot, it's front, so 23 penetration is going to be more than enough, I think, to sort out one or more of those Soviet tanks, unfortunately. Are there any modifiers? So point blank, 90. The target has a fire command, so that doesn't apply. They're in light cover though, they're in the scrub. So that's going to be a -1. Don't think anything applies here, so they're going to come down 1 to 81%. Still a good chance. So top German tank against the top Soviet tank at 81% or less. 22, not much. So where's it hit? 9. That's the whole front. And again, this little asterisk means if it's partially hull down, they're treated as a miss. But no, they're not. So let's just check. We've got 23 penetration on the hull front. Level front, hull front 18. Now we do use this armour piercing penetration rule, and normally we're on this one and we can only plus or minus 3, but no, we're on this one now, we can plus or minus 5. But I still don't think that's going to be enough, because they're actually 5 away and we can't go any more, but we'll do it just for giggles, just to remind you how it goes. The rules say throw them separately. I'm just going to throw them both together. There may be a reason I'm missing, but here we go. We've got a 1 and a 0, or a 10. So what does that do to the penetration of the Germans' shell? Well, the 10, and we're on here, adds another 3. And the 1 takes off 3. So that nullifies it. So it's still 23 penetration against 18 armour. Bang goes the shell. Now, what happens to the Soviet tank? We'll throw a die and see what the damage is. Oh dear. It's a 10. It's only a brew up. So that one with the damaged turret has gone. We'll pop that there. Those go back. And smoke is coming out of that hex. This will go over to our track we're using for destroyed tanks. And because of that, the Soviets are getting another one off their cohesion points. We'll have a look at that in a moment. So that's the top tank done. Don't like these odds. So the middle German tank at the middle Soviet tank. We're at, again, 90, but we're coming down 1 because of this Soviet tank in the light cover. And also now we've got some brew up smoke, which will bring it down another 2. So we're down 3. We're right down to 63%. That smoke may save the Soviet tanks. 63 or less. 61. Oh no. Where have they hit? 2. They've hit the turret at the front. And turret front, I'm afraid, is 18. And even with that variable, they can only reduce the German penetration to 18, so it penetrates. What happens to this poor Soviet tank? Oops. It's 5, it's been knocked out. Not sure if we've got a knockout under there. No, we've got a brew up. We'll put a knockout as well. No, we don't place a knockout counter. We've got a brew up counter there already. But another one on the track and another one off the Soviet cohesion point total. Good grief. So the bottom German tank firing at the last remaining tank, the bottom tank of the stack for the Soviets. Once again, though, we're coming down 1 and another, where is it? Another 2, there it is, for the brew up smoke. So, yep, 63. $95, it misses. Oh, that smoke got in the way. So that, let's just put that back. They moved last time. They're going to fire. Pop that on there. Keep it tidy. They have fired. But this lot here are going to fire. Still not looking good. Don't think there's anything going on with this platoon. well, section, it's only 2. But they are 1, 2, 3, 4 away. And 4 is short range with 20 penetration. They are head on again, I think. So they may have a better chance if they do well on that variable armour piercing table. So short, we've got a -3 for the Soviet tank being in light cover and having brew up smoke. So it's a -3 on the short. 1, 2, 3. It's only 49 now. Top tank, 49. 38. Good grief, does it? Where's it hitting? It's hitting at the hull front. There's a good chance of hitting the hull front. Of course, the hull front for the Soviet, the armour, is 18. But the Germans have a penetration of 20. Now, this is where this variable may help. This time, though, we're back here. So we've only got a ±3. 2 2s. Oh dear. That takes 4 off. If they're in brackets, we take away. Well, we can only take 3 away, remember. So 3 off of the 20 penetration. Makes that 17, and the shell bounces off. The first one misses. Second tank. 49 or less. 43. That's a hit. Where's it hitting? 8. Again, that's the hull front. And if they were partially hull down, that would be a miss. But no. Hull front, as you know by now, is 18. The Germans have a penetration of 20. Should have used this one maybe. Never mind. Let's see what the variable does to the penetration. So at the moment, the Germans have got a 20 penetration against 18 armour. They throw a 9 and a 7. I think that's very good for the Soviets. So we're here. We can only add 3. So a 9 will add 2. And the 7 will add another 1. That's the 3. That gets added to the 20. That's 23. That's more than 18. Of course, they have hit and penetrated the last Soviet tank. What damage? 9! Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's another brew up. We don't add any other smoke or bits and pieces because we've already got that. But these are gone. Whoops. And that gets put on the track. And another cohesion point nearer their total. Well, that's the Germans finishing off their firing phase. Let's just have a look at the situation on the tracks over to the left here. Well, here we are. We've got some more tanks added. So now they're up to 5. If they lose one more, they will have to check morale and they may well be subject to breaking. So we'll keep an eye on that. Right, Soviets firing phase. Just before we go over to the Soviets for their firing phase, something I neglected to do, but in the end didn't matter. If there's a brew up, any other tank in that hex will be suppressed. But as you just saw, there's nothing to suppress. But we've got to bear that in mind. Right, let's see what the Soviets can do. So the Soviets are going to be firing with these two against this German Panzer. We'll do the short halt one first, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 away. Let's just take this off. We've got 3 undamaged tanks in that platoon there. So 7 away. So the Soviets are at medium range with a 15 penetration, not so good. They are shooting at the front of that German tank and it's level. So, well, they might be in with a chance. So let's have a look. We're at 50%, but I don't think any of these apply apart from that one. Short halt, -4. Yeah, -4. 1, 2, 3, 4, down to 30%. Not great, but in previous videos you've seen them do it. So we can get this in here. There we go. So we've got 3 tanks firing at the single German Panzer. So here we go, top tank. 34, no. Middle tank. 69, that is. No good. Last tank. 30. They've only gone and hit that tank. Wherever they hit it. Yep, on the whole front there. So just to remind you, we are here, 15 penetration and whole front 14. At the moment, it looks like they're going to penetrate the armour, but we're using the variable AP penetration table. So let's throw a couple of dice and see what happens. Five and an 8. I think that's good news for the Soviets. The 5 doesn't do anything. We're down here. The 5 doesn't do anything, but the 8 adds another one. So they're up to 16. And that, as you've just seen, is enough to penetrate the whole front. Let's see what damage it does to that Panzer. Time for a bit of payback. 5. Oh. So 5, and that is a knockout. So we can get rid of that. We've already got a knockout counter there, so we don't need another one. But this goes over on the destroyed track. And the Germans get another one knocked off their cohesion points. But we've got this one. Unfortunately now, it has no one to fire at. Mind you, there is another tank down south. Let's have a look at that. So this one can see this tank here. Do we have to nominate what we're firing at before we fire? Even though this target is gone, maybe it can turn its turret and fire at this. It can see it. But let me know if that's incorrect. What I'm saying is, it was going to fire at that. Can't fire at it anymore, but it's seen this tank and it is spotted. So it's going to have a go at that one. Got a KO under that. So it's turning and firing at the top tank, we'll say, of this one. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 away. 9 is medium. That's going to be 15. It's a falling shot because they're on the hill. And It's a side-on attack. So they've got a chance if the shell hits falling. Here we are. With the variable, they may be in with a chance. Let's see what they get. They are on 50% for medium. Let's have a look. They're in the open, aren't they? Yeah. So they're on 50%. Don't think there's any adjustments. I don't think so. No, straight 50%. Not too bad. Let's put it there. That's better. Right. 50% or less. 57. No. They miss. That's the firing. Now it's the movement phase, and because the Soviets lost the initiative, they are moving first. Well, the only tanks that are moving are these and this one up on the hill. This one isn't doing anything, so we can get rid of that. So this will be moving. They're on the track, so they've got a movement of 8. But it's halved because of the short halt. But they don't want to move all of that. They just want to get onto that, excuse me, victory point marker there. Do they want to turn? I think they will. There we are. So they're not side on to those Germans down south. And that's it. This one up here. They're still facing the wrong way. They've got a movement of 4. If they turned round, they wouldn't be able to get down that slope because they're on a higher level here. So that will cost 2 to get down there. So what they're going to do is reverse still. And as they're reversing, their movement is halved. So that's 2. So that's just as well. So they're moving down there. And that's it. And we'll get rid of that. And that. I think that's everybody done. Everybody's fired and moved. So we just finish off with the adjustment phase, but nothing applied. And we're ready for the next turn. And as the turn's over, I think we'll leave it there. Been quite an exciting turn. The annihilation of the Soviets down south, but a little bit of payback for the Soviets by taking out the German tank. Over here, I've just swapped the tanks around so it sort of lines up a bit better with that. But as you can see, one more and the Soviets will have reached their cohesion point total, and we may be rolling for morale. Germans have got 3 still to lose, as it were, but the Soviets have moved on to a victory point hex. And talking of victory points, if you remember, this platoon moved on to this victory point hex, and I think they've been on there for the whole turn, so they now control it. But I hope you enjoyed that. If you did and you haven't done so already, it would be great if you would consider subscribing to the channel. Really does help. Pushing the like button of the video helps as well. The thumbs up. And if you want to be informed of other content the channel uploads, then push the bell. Leave a comment, just in case I've made some little misplays. For instance, because of this tank's target being destroyed. Could it have turned and fired on this one? Even though at the beginning we said it was probably going to fire at this tank. Let me know, because it helps me and others who want to play the game. And besides, I love to read your comments. Thanks as always to my subscribers. Thank you so much. And just before I go, if you wish to support the channel a little bit further, well, now you can. You can buy the channel a coffee. And those coffees go towards maintaining the channel and enabling it to continue to upload new content. If you wish to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description, and thank you. So it's not looking good for the Soviets, but you never know what will happen. So make sure you join us for the next instalment. But until then, as always, you take care and goodbye.